Hi, friends. I'm Zach.
I'm Mitch.
And we are an excellent little podcast.
Presenting you a little movie podcast starring Zach and Mitch.
Wait, we're doing a podcast?
I don't know.
Are we?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't
really
know.
I really got to get this straight at some point. I don't know if I ever will.
We've been coming here for the past, 2 months now? 3-4 months now? And
This has been running for a while.
Yeah, we have been doing this for a while. And we're sitting in front of microphones.
Yep.
We're looking at a laptop.
Yep.
With waves.
Yep.
And we post these once a week. Sometimes
Sounds right
twice
to
a week.
me.
So, therefore, it is a podcast.
Wait, we're doing a podcast?
Well, I mean, if we are, then we would be. It's almost like we're broadcasters. I mean, isn't
Well,
that?
if we are, then what am I?
But I said we are.
I know you are, but what am I?
I don't know.
All right. So, today's episode, a possibly Jim Carrey's last movie ever.
Yeah, we're talking about Sonic the Hedgehog. Excuse me. I spoke so fast. Sonic didn't let me finish.
That's your right.
Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
Yep. Nothing more, nothing less. Just good old Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
Yeah.
We are going to be, as always, doing this episode in 2 parts. First, our non-spoiler side. Then we will go ahead and give our review. And then we will go ahead and jump into a little bit of spoilers. This is just how we normally roll, and we think we're going to continue rolling on that way.
And yet you still don't know that we're doing a podcast.
Wait, we're doing a podcast?
Forgive him. So Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is directed by Jeff Fowler, the same director who directed the first one. The screenplay is done by Pat Casey, Josh Miller, and John Whittington.
Good name.
A great name. What? I wish I had a name like Whittington. I feel like that's something a pirate would say.
That's something like straight out of Bridgerton, like Lord Whittington. I want you to. Who do you wish to marry this year?
You know, I've never seen that show.
It's a good show.
Really
wonderful show.
Remind me to watch that.
Absolutely.
But let's talk about Sonic.
Yes, absolutely. So the summary of Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is when the maniac Dr. Robotnik returns to Earth with a new ally, Knuckles, the Echidna. There we go. That's it. Sonic and his new friend Tails is all that stands in their way.
Yes. And this was my number 8 on my top 10.
Oh my God, it was.
It really, really was. And I gotta say, this delivered for me. I thought it was very funny. It was very action-packed. There were a few little miss jokes here and there, but with a Sonic movie, I'm sorry, it's not.
You're not looking for art.
Yeah, there's not going to be a lot of jokes that just nail it right on the coffin.
Sure.
But I have to say this was a pretty good movie. It's making a lot of money. It just broke the record for the highest opening, both domestic and internationally and worldwide, as the highest grossing first weekend of a video game adaptation.
Woohoo! Way to go, Sonic.
Yeah, good for Sonic. You just speed past that thing and all that thing. But Zach.
Yes.
Yeah, you've heard my thoughts. Wait, we're doing a podcast?
Oh, yeah, we are doing a podcast. I need to give my thoughts, too. Shoot. So, yes, Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Yeah, so my thoughts on it were, it was good. Like, I'm not going to lie, I liked the first one better.
Yeah, that was going through my mind at the end of the movie. I'm like,
and
you know
going into this movie, I was like, was the first Sonic just lightning in a bottle? Well, maybe, possibly, but this movie I still enjoyed.
Yeah.
So like, it's not far off.
No.
And if I'm not gonna lie, if they could convince Jim Carrey to do one more, that maybe will help my excitement for the third one.
Well, don't forget there is a Knuckles show coming on Paramount Plus.
That's true too.
trying to set up a shared universe.
Yeah. So I'm really, but like overall, like it was really great. Like Sonic was really wonderful again. Having Tails and Knuckles in there is actually a very nice welcome to, broadening the Sonic universe, because, it's nice to have, like, whenever you have like a CGI and live action kind of mix together like that, it's always nice to have some also CGI characters to play off of.
Yeah.
Where like Sonic really was just kind of like this fish out of water in the first one. So it was just kind of nice to have some friends from his like universe come to us.
Right, of course. And also it helps with really the live actors, even though, yes, they are just looking at air or
tennis balls
or tennis balls,
yeah.
right? They're able to play off of that.
Yeah.
Even though, yes, they are just tennis balls, they can feed off that energy. And also, when they're developing the characters in the post-production, those characters can feed off of the actor's energy as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
If that makes any lick of sense, which probably doesn't. But you know what? It's CGI, folks.
Yeah.
It's Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
Yeah,
It's making money.
But you just mentioned the cast. We should probably go ahead and start talking about our cast for
Well,
this one.
absolutely. Well, Ben Schwartz returns to voice Sonic, and I gotta say, he was well done.
Yeah, he continued, like, I really loved Ben Schwartz's interpretation of Sonic in the first one, and he continued to build on it on this one. I think this version, this second outing of Sonic was kind of more the action hero version of Sonic, where I feel like the first one kind of had like a little more heart of Sonic, but it was still kind of nice to see, and you still see some growth. You see actually quite a bit of growth in Sonic, but I feel like I just saw a little bit more growth in Sonic in the first one, because it was like genuinely you're like, this hedgehog's a kid in the first one.
Yeah.
And like, you're like, he doesn't know what he's doing, but he's just kind of along for the ride. This one kind of takes that idea and kind of tries to drive a little bit more harder that he is still a kid, and that he's going to need to grow up at some point. But at the same time as a Sonic and a kids movie at the same time too, so they kind of didn't steer as much into that as much as I would like. But I thought still Ben Schwartz's interpretation was still wonderful. Every single time I hear his voice, I'm not gonna lie, I either hear Jean-Ralphio from Parks and Rec or Dewey from DuckTales. Literally whenever he's like screaming at the top of his lungs, like he just sounds like Dewey to me. And then they actually did a Parks and Rec callback in this one, which I loved, because they had him do the "I'm the worst," and I was like, y'all. But yeah, Ben Schwartz, great as Sonic. What did you think of him as Sonic again?
Well, you mentioned the fact that he is still a kid. I feel like there were bits in this movie where he almost became an adult, like halfway through. I don't know if that's what they wanted, but if they did, great on them. Especially when later on, when he meets/fights Knuckles.
Yep.
And he has to deal with Dr. Robotnik and an actual... Well, that's a spoiler.
Oh, yeah.
I will wait. I will wait. You got me a little ahead of the game. You got
the turntables.
You got me going a little too fast.
There it is.
But yeah, he did well. But I gotta talk about Jim Carrey.
Oh, you always have to talk about Jim Carrey.
If this is his last role,
I'm sad.
I gotta applaud you, Mr. Carrey. You did very, very well. I did think his performance in the first one was a little better, but this one, I feel like he just wasn't in it enough.
Yeah, I genuinely, like, he was just in the first one, like, so much.
Yeah.
It almost felt like it was, like, co-billing, genuinely. It was, like, Sonic and Dr. Robotnik's movie in the first one.
Right.
This one, it just had so much to introduce with two characters that we're about to talk about, that the movie basically wanted to get those two introduced and set up, which is great, and I love that they gave that, but I think it came at the cost of seeing less of Robotnik and Jim Carrey, which sad, especially since I genuinely, on the first one, I was almost on the floor laughing for some of his bits. This one, I really like. I was chuckling, but like not like downright on the floor like the first one.
Yeah, I feel
I was still really happy to see him, and kind of like how we saw in the first one, it just looks like he's just having fun and being 90s Jim Carrey again in these ones.
That's exactly what I was going to mention. It was just basically 90s Jim Carrey in the first one. But this second one, I feel like there was a lot of dead space, if that makes any sense.
A
lot of in his jokes. But I feel like that wasn't necessarily his fault. It, like you said, they were trying to set up Knuckles and Tails, which we'll get to in a second. And that's just not his fault. It's just a victim of circumstance.
Yeah. But speaking of Knuckles, Idris Elba is Knuckles.
Yeah.
Holy crap. Like,
yeah.
I don't think you could have cast that role any better.
No.
Because I'm not going to lie. Like, the moment Knuckles steps onto the scene, he's almost acts like a Drax the Destroyer. And he's very literal, very, again, fish out of water. Like, but, anytime Idris Elba even just uses, like, I feel like Idris Elba is the new Morgan Freeman.
Oh,
like,
absolutely.
Like, anytime his voice is used, you're like, yes. Absolutely, yes.
Well, that line that he says, can I say it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Do I look like I need your power?
Like, no one else could give such gravitas to that
thank
line.
you.
And, well, that's to Idris.
Oh.
Not to you. You did that line a disservice, sir. How dare you?
Well, you know what? You said I could do it.
I said, as a reference, not to grade you, but I had to grade you. Oh, but it's okay. It's fine. Idris Elba's great. He's wonderful.
Wait, we're doing a podcast?
We are. We are. I actually can admit it now.
No, but yeah, I have to agree. Idris Elba was great, especially as the movie progressed and his literalness actually started to show, especially at the end.
Oh, the ending. So, like, here's the thing. Like I said, I was chuckling in this movie. I wasn't like downright like laughing like how I was in the first one, but to be honest, 9 times out of 10, if I was like really like giving like a belly chuckle, it was probably from something from Knuckles.
Oh, absolutely. That I have to agree with you 110%. It was just hilarious, some of the stuff that he did.
But another new cast member that we have coming in from the Sonic verse is Colleen O'Shaughnessy's Tails finally makes an appearance.
Yeah.
Which Tails is huge in the Sonic verse. So we finally get, one of Sonic's number 2. Like, genuinely, Tails is Sonic's best friend.
Absolutely.
And so we finally get him. What do you think of Tails' introduction into the movies?
I thought Tails was well done. I can't really say I know a lot about Tails. Because I played the first game, but other than like on the original Sega.
Sure, yeah.
So I absolutely know nothing about Tails. Absolutely nothing. So, but since this was my first time seeing Tails on screen or
ever, pretty much.
Yeah, ever. Yeah. I gotta say, yeah, Tails was well done. Can't really say I have any bits where I didn't like the character. I can't really say there were bits where I loved the character, but Tails was just good, is what I would have to say.
That's, to be honest, is really what I would say. Tails was fine. Tails was fine.
Tails was fine.
There was, I feel like the one thing that I was missing from Tails, my man that we're about to talk about, Tom, him and Sonic just formed like a really, really nice like father-son bond.
Yep.
That it kind of felt weird having him not really interact with Sonic a whole bunch. So it kind of made like the Tails like best friend thing kind of a little forced-ish. But at the same time, it did still feel a little natural because you knew, even if you didn't know, you kind of knew like Tails was like one of Sonic's like best friends. So like you knew that like that was going to happen and try that they were going to be like best friends like from the moment they met. But it was like nothing bad.
No.
But like nothing, but kind of like you said, nothing that really like stood out.
No.
Tails was just the techie genius that he was the brains while Sonic's the brawn. That's is always how it's been.
Yeah, it was well done. I can't really say like it just blew me away, but Tails was a good addition, but it wasn't great.
Yeah, I think that there's room for growth.
Oh, absolutely. So you mentioned Tom.
Yeah.
And it's James Marsden.
Yeah, it is.
Do you want to do the thing?
I can do the bit.
You can do the bit.
I can do the bit. It's I've been dreaming of a true love's kiss. He's here.
It's James Marsden.
It's James Marsden. Oh, God. I love that man.
But he wasn't in it enough.
No. And to be honest, so here's the thing. With the first Sonic movie, they did a really good job of validating the reason why humans needed to be in this movie. Sonic has been transported to our world, and he's completely new to it. There's no idea why he's here. James Marsden finds him, and Robotnik treats him like an alien, and is trying to hunt him and track him down and try to steal his power, kind of thing. Like, genuinely made sense why humans were there. All the humans, minus Robotnik, all take a B-list plot line that goes absolutely nowhere.
Yeah, I have to say something. All the human characters, they did take a B-list. There were bits where they were just there, but they were so worthless. I'm sorry.
It made no sense.
Yeah.
Like any single time that we cut to any of the human characters made no sense why we were going there.
And
it was
so
literally
unnecessary.
it was literally just a reason like, well, we had these characters in the first one and they were so integral that leaving them out would be weird. So we got to do something.
Yeah.
So here you go.
And they were signed for sequels.
Yeah. So honestly, I think they should have done it just kind of similar.
Yeah.
Like, minor spoiler, there's a wedding plot
and
in
it's
here.
so stupid.
Minor spoiler, but take the wedding plot out, take the two lovebirds out of it, and then just focus on Tom and Maddie teaming up with Sonic.
Yeah.
And then maybe have like the whole dynamic of like Tails and like maybe Tom like kind of a little bit at odds and maybe Sonic like struggling to see like who to trust or whatnot. Like that would have been a lot more interesting where you keep like your bigger leads and like, like it was a whole, it would have made more sense if they actually had some worth to the story. They just didn't in this one.
I would have.
Which also, I guess we'll also put in Tika Sumpter as Maddie. We'll just lump these two together.
Yeah. I do have to add that I like the idea of them going away.
Okay.
For a bit.
Sure.
Maybe like the first act and half the second act. I do like that idea, but not to a wedding that just literally
has
made
nothing to do with the plot whatsoever.
Right. I would have liked it if it was like their own vacation. Or like their own honeymoon, maybe.
Maybe, yeah, that would have been fun. Or maybe if whatever adventure they needed to go on was like, okay, we need to split up. And then either Sonic or James Marsden goes, okay, Sonic, you go with Tails. I'm going to go with Maddie. We're going to do this part of the quest. And Sonic and Tails do this part of the quest.
Right.
Kind of the thing. Divide and conquer kind of a thing. That would have, I feel, worked better.
With the added sound effect.
But I like that would have been a way to support the story and still, do something. That's a way that you could have them veer off and have their own stories. But yet, yeah, the entire beeline plot was just pointless.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was our little summary of our cast performances. So let's go ahead and move on to our review of what we thought of the movie. Mitch, since this was your number 8, I'm going to ask you, did you eat this up? Do you think it needed to cook a little more, or are you feeding this to Jazz?
Well, since this is Sonic the Hedgehog 2, we want to make this review quick, so I'm just going to say it. I ate this movie up. Zach?
Yeah, I ate this up too. Yeah, there some things that I would change, sure, but I walked out of this movie enjoying it, so yeah, I ate it up.
Yeah, I have to agree. We all knew, like this, like you said, we're not expecting art with Sonic the Hedgehog 2. We were just entertained.
Yep.
And we got what we wanted.
Yeah.
And that was our first of a double feature.
That it was. All right. So we're going to go ahead and move on to our spoiler section. It's going to be really, really small.
There's really nothing.
There's really not much to talk about for spoilers.
Sonic wins.
Spoiler alert. But
Sonic wins.
but the big thing is that there is one thing that we wanted to kind of talk about, which was the B plot in a little more detail. So basically the B plot is that you remember the characters from the first one. Natasha Roswell, who played Rachel, which is Maddie's sister. She's in love with Shamar Moore, who plays Randall.
And this is his first time being in this franchise.
Correct. This is his first time being in the franchise. So we randomly just have them show up and, they're getting married. Great. Cool.
We know nothing about any of them.
Yeah.
Really.
Absolutely nothing about them. They're just like, hey, we're
getting married.
And we're like, okay.
Cool.
And then it just keeps on going back to this plot. And we're like, but Sonic's over there doing a lot more important stuff.
And we don't care about
why
this
are we
wedding?
Coming back to this that we are literally just finding about these characters and no.
Yeah.
And then the big twist of this B plot is this wedding was all a setup by the fiance, Randall, unknowing by Rachel, to catch Sonic.
Because he's like some kind of government agent.
Yeah. So literally this man faked a love interest to get in with the family to catch Sonic and basically pulled this like the moment Sonic shows up. And I'm like, is that really as convoluted as you're about to get with this? Like, why?
It literally made absolutely zero sense. God. And it was, so, like I said, it was just a pointless subplot.
It really was. And they don't make the character like of Randall a total dick because he's like, no, at first it was a setup, but then I actually started to love you. So yeah, I really do want to get married, and Rachel's like, no, like what, huh, what? Sure, let's get married. I'm like, wow,
great.
Who saw that coming?
Yeah,
everyone in this theater, because we knew what was gonna happen. Well, I didn't see that plot twist coming, but I was like, of course this stupid wedding was, of course this stupid wedding is gonna compound to something even more stupid.
Yeah.
But yeah, so let's put those two away, and when we get our sequel, which will have Shadow in it, which we're excited about.
Yeah. A little spoiler,
but we're in a spoiler section. So let's hope that they can get Jim Carrey back. B, hope they can give more screen time to Jim Carrey. C, I'm actually gonna say one way to improve this, have Ben Schwartz on set.
Oh, yeah.
Have Ben Schwartz on set and have him and Jim Carrey absolutely banter and improv this shit out. Because I feel like that is going to make this movie even a hell of a lot more special, is if Robotnik and Ben Schwartz are going toe-to-toe.
Oh, yeah. Especially with those two, with how good at improv they are. Oh, man.
genuinely, it will make Sonic 3. It will make Sonic 3 quote unquote bigger, different, and better. Mm-hmm. And then the next thing, fucking make the humans matter in the next one.
Yeah, they absolutely did not matter at all in this movie, and
they did such a good job with the first one.
Yeah, but it really dragged the movie.
It literally, like me, when I stepped out of the theater, me and Mitch walked out of it, and we were talking about like our first thoughts coming out of the theater, and I was like, this movie needs a little more seasoning. But I still enjoyed it, and I still ate it up. So I was like, I didn't know what I was gonna do for a little bit. Like as I was walking around, I was like, this is kind of in the middle. But overall, like I said, I ate it up. But it was like, so it just dragged that entire B plot. Just dragged the entire movie down and almost made it like a.
So you ate it up.
Yeah.
But you needed a drink with it, kind of like a chaser.
Well, if the chaser was fucking this wedding scene, that's me drinking like vinegar or malt liquor, like this, gross.
Yeah. Well, what I mean is like you ate up the movie, but you needed something.
I needed a nice
drink.
cold glass of milk afterwards.
Yeah, I think that's it. I think it had a little. They tried to make it too sweet. And you needed like a little cold glass of milk.
I need a cold glass of milk or a nice slice of cheesecake. And I'm lactose intolerant.
So. Why did you say milk?
I'm not lactose intolerant, but I love it. Yeah. Any final thoughts, Mitch, or any on whether spoiler or not?
I mean, we pretty much hit everything. I just have to agree with you that marriage subplot.
Marriage.
It's what brings us together
to dump on this movie.
Today.
But
yeah.
No, this I genuinely think that I think they will recognize that was a misstep, and I think they're gonna move forward on better terms later. But until that day, I'm Zach.
I'm Mitch,
and we are an excellent little podcast.